All right, guys, gals, non-binary pals. I have him. I have Splinter finally. I finally found him, and it was live at a Target. And it was just sitting on the shelf at a Target, because I know I've had comments to my past videos that people are having a lot of trouble finding Splinter. And some people don't even believe he's out, but he's definitely out. I definitely found this at Target. If you follow me on Instagram, I actually posted a picture from Target where I found him. So I'm not lying to you, okay? But based on the comments and based on what I've been seeing online, especially the Target website. So the Target website, sometimes he pops up, sometimes he doesn't. That's been the thing. That was the big thing with the turtle set that kept doing for me. Like, I kept checking the turtle set on Target, but it just wouldn't even show up. And then sometimes it would show up, but it would say it's out of stock. And then sometimes it just wouldn't show up at all. And it was the same thing with Splinter. I had no problem finding the Battle Damage Shredder or the Ultimate Foot Ninja, which I did I've done videos on all those. So please check those out. But Splinter is definitely one of my most wanted figures from the series. And again, this is my favorite series going on right now. This NECA Mirage Turtles series. I absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. So when I saw Splinter, I knew I had to have it. So we're going to be checking it out today, obviously, together. Because we're friends now, right? We're friends. Thank you so much for all the comments and interactions too on the videos I've been doing recently. It's kind of overwhelming how the channel's picking up a little bit. I'm not used to that. I'm just doing cool things that I like to talk about, and whoever wants to, partake and join and hang out or whatever, then it's open to them. So I really appreciate the comments, and I really hope if you really want this figure, you can find it because it looks awesome. Just looking at the package right here. This is Splinter's sort of initial version in the comic books, just like the Turtles. He went through a couple different, artists, a couple different styles. He's more angular at times. He's, softer at times. And this is basically the Splinter from the very beginning of the comic. So the first, 1 to maybe 6 or 7 issues or so. Because obviously, he's got an Utram in there too. So it's from that Utram storyline, the TGRI storyline at the beginning of the Mirage comics. And this is definitely his look from then. Because like I said, he went through a couple different looks. Mainly his robe changed. Like this is sort of the first version of him. Second version, he had I don't know. His robe was all ripped up. He was doing kung fu everywhere and his robe got ripped. And you could definitely tell that with the style of the figure. Obviously, I'm going to put some screenshots here so you can see. But you also have the amazing original art by Kevin Eastman on the front, which I adore. Like I said before, I love these boxes, especially the turtle box. Oh man, they're works of art. Never gonna get rid of these boxes. So obviously it's a windowed package. Splinter. There's the art like I talked about. First side Ninja Turtles. Full body shot of, decrepit, short Splinter. The TCRI, I think I said TGRI earlier. TGRI, isn't that like ice cream or something? I don't know. All right, TCRI, mutagen, and a little baby turtle, which you can't really see from the front, but there are a little baby turtle in there, I think. Other side, he's number 8 in the series. I know I just did a Ultimate Foot Ninja unboxing, and he was 10, so he's before that one. Back, you got the cool action shots, like always, with the comic tones on them. I love the, the dotted colors like old comic books used to be. There's a term for it. I can't think of what it was. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the screen. But action shots, right? Baby turtle with a little teacup. Of course, Splinter likes tea. Come on. And then, maybe telling the turtles something. So more of the figures in the series. There's a video of him, video of them. I don't have him yet, so I don't have a video of him yet, but there's more in the series. And by now, you know what time it is. Cha-cha-cha. Honestly, I don't normally talk at this part, but I literally haven't seen any videos or anything about this figure. I knew nothing about it, and I'm actually shocked about all the cool stuff he comes with. Like, I had no idea he came with all this cool stuff, even a Mouser. Oh man, we're gonna see it up close in a minute, but I just had to interject. And the silica gel, obviously. That is a bonus accessory right there. And another thing I'm surprised, I'm shocked about it, or I mean, maybe seeing it in, you know, real life, like as opposed to the comic books. Like, I didn't know he was going to be this small. Like, he's tiny. And obviously that's why he comes with a lot of accessories. NECA definitely wants to give you your money's worth, you know what I mean? So when we look at the accessories, we'll see if he's definitely worth that. But the figure itself, I absolutely adore it. This is probably my favorite Splinter that I've ever seen. I like this better than the movie Splinter. I don't have a cartoon Splinter, so I don't know if I've seen this cartoon Splinter up close. Maybe I have. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But this Splinter is so cool looking, and again, it matches the comic book perfectly. And you can see all the design notes, especially, I really like there's a headshot, a few headshots in the comic book where he's telling the backstory of the, you know, Turtle's origin and stuff like that. And he's got that, you know, dark black, like, streak down his face that sort of, you know, fades out as it goes. And that's the exact, you know, head aesthetic they gave this figure. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Obviously, all the hair is sculpted. It's got a very dark wash all over the place, even on the legs. The legs, you can see the dark wash going through, you know, with the lighter brown and everything. It lightens up, you know, around his feet, around his hands. He's obviously got a real cloth, you know, robe, and it looks freaking fantastic. This looks fantastic. It doesn't look too billowy. The Ultimate Foot Ninja, the robe on the Ultimate Foot Ninja, maybe looked a little billowy. This one looks perfectly suited for the figure. I love, you know, the belt that's sort of pre-tied there. And I have, you know, I've given him a little peek underneath, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, all that sculpt work goes on throughout. All the, you know, the wrinkly sort of hair. And, you know, the fur is not just a general fur they paint. They, you know, sculpted on here. The lines of the fur and everything match Eastman and Laird's original art style. It's that sort of blotchy, inky style. And this matches it perfectly. I love this figure. I'm just shocked how small he is. I really think in my head, he was a little bit bigger than he is. And so, I don't know. But I love the stylings. I love the robe. I love the colors. Oh, man. Like, this is so good. I'm so happy with this. And he's actually articulated pretty well. Obviously, with a figure like this, you typically don't get double elbows and double knees. So no, they're single. But they do move very well. The hands, you know, forward and backward on the hands. The head movement, he gets a huge amount of head movement. Up, down, any which direction you want to go. So there's a huge amount of head movement. The jaw does not appear to be articulated or anything. It's just one piece here, I think, unless I'm seeing things wrong, but I don't think I am. So there's no articulation at the jaw like some of the other, you know, NECA Mirage figures like Triceratops Zog and everything had the articulated jaw. So he does not have those. Obviously, you know, he's got, you know, normal sort of shoulder articulation in there. I don't know if you could do around the world with this robe on, so we'll just keep it there like that. The feet are nice, big feet, so he shouldn't have a problem standing up, which I like. He can kick some butt. He can get those dirty, spiky toenails in someone's keister. Leg goes out to about there, and like I said, single knees. The articulation isn't very much in the back, but again, with a figure this small, there's limitations to the articulation you can do. The feet are obviously articulated, so you can go back, forward. They actually have a lot of movement, a lot of rocking and everything. You can move it around in different directions. So the feet can go wherever you want them to go to get him a good, you know, stand. And his tail is pretty cool too, obviously. Well, I mean, I would assume it was bendy, and it's definitely bendy. It's got the earthworm. Looks like an earthworm coming up his keister. But anyways, he's a rat. It looks like a rat tail. Come on. And it does. It bends, it articulates however you want. It looks really good. And I don't know. I'm surprised how happy I am with this figure being as small as it is. Because again, it was a surprise at first. Small. And then, you know, you start to look at the details and the articulation and the paint job and, you know, just the character, how it matches the comic book. And I honestly couldn't be happier with what they did with this figure for sure. And like I said, in the comic book, he's had, you know, a couple different looks. So this is sort of, you know, his first appearance in the comic book, nice and relaxed. And then we'll go through some of the different storyline elements with him when we look at the accessories, because a lot of his accessories match sort of, you know, his journey through the comic book. And, you know, NECA did a great job with that for sure. So I love the sculpt. I love the look. I love the dark wash in there. This is the Mirage Comics Splinter, like no doubt about it. All right, first accessory that it comes with is like a teapot. Obviously, you know, he likes to meditate. He likes his tea. And the teapot's got cool cell shading on it. It is a nice color. Obviously, I can't identify where this is in the comic book. I'm sure maybe it showed up at some point. I'm not going to give you an issue and a picture of a teapot, okay? But it does have a, you know, articulated, I'll call this articulated handle that moves up and down, which is definitely a nice touch. And I love, again, I love the cell shading in the series, and there's cell shading on the pot just to make it look, you know, like comic booky. So it's very cool. And it even comes with a little cup. So he can drink, so he can pour some tea and drink some tea. So I would imagine this fits in one of his hands. I don't know. And next up, we have his walking stick, which is also, you know, could double as a weapon, obviously. In the original Mirage comic book, he was definitely elderly, meaning he was older than some of the newer versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where he, you know, might be a little bit younger. But in the original Mirage comics, he was definitely, you know, an elder statesman. So he used the cane, obviously, you know, to walk around and everything. And there's a few scenes where, like I said, he used it as a weapon. So, you know, the sculpt work on it, it matches the comic book. It looks great. It's got that dark wash on it still. So it definitely looks like a real wooden, you know, cane or walking stick, whatever you want to call it. So it, I don't know, it goes right along with Splinter. And this little adorable guy, I had no idea this was going to be in there. This is amazing and adorable. This is Splinter as a rat, like a normal rat. He was in, like I said, the origin in the comic books, the original Mirage comics are different than the movie and the cartoon and everything, slightly, right? So he was a rat living with his master Hamato Yoshi, and you know, he was just a normal rat at the time, but he would mimic sort of the ninja moves that he was doing, sort of the kung fu training moves that his master was doing. And there's one shot in the comic book, which I'll show here, that this sort of mimics. And it looks so good. It looks just like it. I'm so, like, I love this. I absolutely love this. Because this was shown in the comic book when he was sort of going over the origin of the turtles with the turtles themselves. Like, hey, here's where you came from, the TCRI, you know, canister and everything. He tried to explain everything. And oh my gosh, this is so freaking adorable. And speaking of the TCRI mutagen canister, this is what he comes with. A broken one on the ground, because that's obviously, so TCRI was a, you know, it was the Utroms in the original comic book, right? They had that giant building, TCRI, and some of the mutagen like got out of the building. Obviously, this is, you know, what Splinter found the turtles in, and that's how they all mutated. And, you know, fast forward to the future, they had to go back to this building at some point and sort of met the Utroms. The turtles thought they were enemies at the time, but Splinter, you know, they found Splinter because, I don't know, this is a long story. Baxter Stockman attacked with the Mousers. The Mousers, Splinter tried to defend himself, but he got beaten up pretty bad. So, you know, the Utroms at TCRI found him and were going to shoot him, but he talked to them. He said, no, you know, don't shoot me. He said, don't shoot. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a TCRI canister from the mutagen, from the turtles, and it looks amazing. It's got the cell shading and stuff on it. I'll continue the story in just a minute. I know I'm too excited about this figure. I'm jumping around. This video is going to be very scatterbrained, okay? So it looks great. I love the color. It's, you know, that neon green color. It's got TCRI on the canister, cell shading and everything. Looks pretty dope. And bam, he comes with an Utrom. That's why he comes with an Utrom. So I don't know if Utrom is just this little brain part, if it's the whole robot, obviously Utrom was one of the initial figures they released in the line that I absolutely love. I love the cell shading on it. That and Fugitoid are amazing figures because I love the shading on them. And obviously he does come with a little brain guy in his belly, you know, because there was no Krang in the original comic book, at least at the beginning of it. It was these guys. These were a race of beings. So we'll look at the Mouser in a minute, but to reiterate, the Mousers attacked Splinter. The turtles were not there. And he, you know, defended himself against him, but he got beat up pretty bad. So he was, you know, damaged goods. He was in the sewer, on the sewer drains. And, you know, some of the Utrons found him and brought them back to sort of heal him. Because he heard him talk. And so obviously the turtles came there to try to rescue him because they thought they were, you know, hurting them or whatever. And the turtles, this is a big adventure, right? The turtles got teleported to, you know, the dinosaur world, the Triceratons world, and, you know, eventually did come back. And Splinter was like, hey, you know, hey, these guys aren't that bad, right? So this is one of the Utroms that sort of befriended Splinter, I guess, and it's got good, again, it's got that sort of, you know, really, really sort of muddy inked wash on it. That's a hallmark of the Mirage series. And, you know, I don't know if this guy has a name. I love his, you know, little, are these tentacles? I don't know what you want to call these. Appendages? All the little appendages around. You can see it's two pieces right there. Because, you know, he's kind of take my strong hand. And since I'm on that part of the story, let's go over the Mouser next, obviously. So the comic book, you know, again, was a little different than everything else. And I know they've announced the Baxter Stockman figure. They've showed it off, and he does come with more Mousers, I believe. But I had no idea this would be in the package. This is so amazing. I don't have a Mouser. I don't have a lot of the cartoon series. I know there's cartoon Mousers out there. There's that big pack that NECA released on the NECA store and everything. But anyways, this is sort of a Mirage themed Mouser from Baxter Stockman because of that scene where they sort of attacked. And I really, really love the shading on this. It's that light metal, but it's still, you know, that airbrushed sort of dark metal look to it a little bit. It's not just painted on, it's airbrushed, which gives it another, you know, quite unique look to it. But again, just like the Mirage series, it's got all the cell shading where it needs to be. So comic, you know, hatch lines on it. It's got the black lines throughout, like at every sort of joint and everything like that. So it's everything that I love. It does have, you know, knee articulation. It's got foot articulation. It's got a neck, a movable neck right there. It's even has a little bit of a ball joint in the bottom right there. And the coolest feature of this, for sure, obviously, it's got to have a mouth that you can open. Come on, it's a Mouser. And look inside the mouth. It's all painted and it looks amazing. Again, attention to detail. That looks pretty awesome. I'm sure that matches the comic book in some frame of the comic book that matches it, right? So that looks awesome. I love this Mouser. I hope Baxter Stockman comes with like at least 4 of these. maybe not. I don't know. Or they release a pack like they did with the cartoon Mousers. On the NECA store eventually. This looks very cool, and you know, it just ties together a sort of Splinter story with all of his accessories. And again, I haven't seen any videos or anything about Splinter, so he does come to 4 tiny baby turtles. These are the baby turtles that he found in the mutagen that obviously grew up to become permanent teenagers forever. Forever. 40 years later, they're still teenagers. And these are freaking adorable. The paint jobs are good. There's obviously, you know, they're tiny. There's no articulation. They're the same sculpt. There's no uniqueness between them. But obviously, you know, the paint details in something this small is really good. The colors are amazing. The colors look awesome. And again, matches the comic book. I'll show you. I'll prove it. Look right here. All right, and here's the alternate 4 hands he comes with. So there's 2 pointy hands, a right and a left, but they both can point. And then 2 grip hands to grab stuff, obviously, you know, like the pot or whatever. The hands that he has on him are just sort of open hands, so they can't really grab anything. Maybe that one could grab stuff. And these are more, I think that's what you use for his walking cane, to actually like walk. But if you want him to sort of grip it like a weapon, you'd have to use one of these right here. So they all have the same notes as the, you know, Splinter. They all have that dark wash on them. And they all move forward and backwards. There's no up and down hands, so you can see the sort of articulation there, the hinge. And really, the only comparison that matters is him to the turtles. And like I'm saying, look, he's like half the size of the turtles. Half the size. Let's get an exact measurement here. So the top of his ears are about 3 3/4 inches tall. So he is a tiny, tiny figure compared to his sons, the Ninja Turtles. But I mean, it does match the comic book. Like, this fits in so beautifully with the comic book. I'm so happy with this figure. All right, and just for funsies, here's him compared to Triceratops Zog. He can probably fit in Triceratops Zog's mouth. All right, and I do want to compare the little brains, obviously. Obviously, this one came with the Utrom, you know, robot body. So it's definitely more slender to fit in that cavity on his thing, but it's definitely, they look way different, you know what I mean? This one's way bigger because, you know, when Splinter first met them or first saw them, they were actually not in a body. They were like sitting on a table, like drinking coffee or something. So that's sort of what this takes after, that scene in the comic book, more than the Utroms, you know, inside the robots. But I must say, I do like this one's eyes a little bit better because they're way recessed in there, and this one's sort of like bugging out, like boing. So that's it. That's the Mirage Comics new Splinter figure, number 8 in the series. And my impressions, just like most of the Mirage series so far, are pretty amazing. I love the stylings. I think it matches the comic book perfectly. I love how tiny he is. He's a little bit cute too. You know, cute and deadly. He comes with some great accessories. He's got a great wash on him. The robe is great. All the stylings are great. Like, I really think it does. It's another one that really matches the comic book so close, so close. I literally cannot think of any way they could have done this differently that would have been better than what it is. So, you know, at this point in the Mirage series, obviously I trust NECA with my life. So keep it going, NECA. These figures are amazing. I think Splinter's amazing. I think he's worth it. But obviously, if you're watching this video, make up your own mind. You know what I mean? That's my thoughts. That's everything about him. If you want to get him, get him. If you don't. It's all good. So guys, gals, non-binary pals, thanks for tuning in to another episode. Make sure you check out the gaming channel too. The gaming channel, enemyzero Studios. Check out that one too. I do gaming stuff there too. All right, guys, gals, non-binary pals. Peace out. Mirage, live forever.